Hello and welcome back to Boring Dad Gaming, where today we're going to be playing some more Citizen Sleeper 2. We are on this station. I forget which exactly one it is. Where are we? We are... Is this the scatter yards? This isn't the scatter yards, is it? Is it? Maybe it is. Is it? Look like the scatter yards. Yeah, that's the scatter yards up there. Well, we're going to go to the green belt first, I think, and we're going to go and finish off, well, no, maybe even not finish off, but we're going to continue the helping Nemba and Aki quest line there, get that sorted. It'd be nice to be able to upgrade another skill before we do another contract. Have a quick look at, mind you, I've only got one, haven't I? So I think probably we'll just head off now. Probably fill up on fuel before we go. Expect it's there. Fuel, that'll do. Right, let's head over to the Greenbelt. Yeah, we'll do the Eugene thing at some point. I don't want to do it right now. I think we can improve ourselves a bit more just to make the contracts perhaps a little bit easier or something. You bring the steppe silk husks you gathered from the wind's long shadow to Aki, and she is as pleased as you would expect. You meet her on the bridge overlooking Greenfields, the Greenbelt workers quietly toiling below, while the air recycler's wind gently rustles the leaves of the crops. Sleeper! Aki holds the husks to her chest. Thank you. These are a new beginning for us. Aki pauses, knitting her brow. How was she, the wind's long shadow? A dead wreck. Aki sighs and looks out at the Greenbelt fields. Everyone must die in the end. The belt makes wrecks of us all. She looks back to you. But what you have brought me, this is new life. Give us time. We will need to clear and reseed the other biosphere. Aki bows. I hope you will return to us when the work is done. She presses a handful of chits into your hand. Thank you. She meets your eye. You watch her carry the husks gently away, glowing with the promise of fresh growth. So we also want... Oh, new location discovered. So is this just a timer? I think so. There's nothing here for us to do. We've got to wait that long. Connect Nemba and Aki. Nemba wants to make an alliance with Aki. Collect the spores and Aki's trust. I mean, we've done that, have we not? Maybe we should wait for this thing to finish, though. That's just buying supplies. Is there any work for us here? Buy a meal. There isn't really, is there? Rest and recover. Reduce stress. I mean, I don't think we need to, do we? Okay, let's look at the other drives we've got. Okay, so we'll have to wait some cycles. If we move on, does this clock keep going up, I wonder, or does it like pause when we're not in a system? Let's go to Oliveira. We know that one. Help Aki, but that's just to wait for that to happen. And get back to Darkside, which we can't currently do, so... I think honestly, maybe we just wait for this to happen. Quite honestly, we've got loads of money now. Let's just fill up on fuel. I mean, there literally is nothing I can input my dice into that would really do anything for us. So let's just rest. What should we? We might as well keep doing the odd jobs. I won't pause just in case something happens story-wise, but we're gonna kind of whiz through this, I think. Yeah, you have to leave before you can come back. It's 4 more cycles, okay. We'll rest again before we eat. I don't see not much need to do that. Right now. I still keep forgetting to look up what these dice are, these sort of fractured ones. Like concerned, it might mean that the next time they break, that might be it, but I guess we'll no way for us to know, really. How are we doing? So we got a couple more, is it? Yeah. But I think once we've done this greenbelt stuff, I think we'll get enough to do a new skill. I think there's 2 major drives. That's going to be 4 points incoming. I'll do the last one. Here we go. Oh, nice rolls. The biosphere, once barren, is transformed. Where it was once dry and grey, it now swirls with amber dust, a hazy cloud cut through with the bone-white tendrils of steppe silk. Aki, in mask and goggles, lets the biosphere's circling air play with the end of her scarf, twirling and twisting, even threatening to rip it from her neck. That scarf, she's explained, is woven from the bast fibres of the steppe silk itself. That is why this place is known as Weaver's Fields, for the workshops of Greenbelt residents, creating fabric from its steppe silk fibres. Weavers who fled from Ember's steppe and those who those taught afresh by Aki herself. Isn't it beautiful? Aki asks, her eyes glowing. Ember's steppe reborn on this rock, but not as an archive, as something new. The plants themselves are reconfigured. The steppe silk adapts well to the microgravity, even thrives, and the dust itself becomes a cloud that surrounds it. Aki points to a tendril stretching across the space. What was once a burrowing plant is now a bridging plant. Like us, it projects itself across empty space, pushing out into its new conditions. Aki looks at you. Sorry, I'm rambling. This place does that to me. Her chuckle is muffled by her mask. It is beautiful. Aki bows. Thank you, I'm glad you like it. Let's leave the dust house. We can talk more easily outside. She shepherds you through some nearby double doors, the space between blasting you with air to clean away the dust. You find yourself in a sparse room, racks of unfamiliar tools on the wall, slit-like windows looking out into the amber dust storm. This is just the beginning for us. Aki has slipped off her mask and her voice is crisp and bright above the rumbling of the air recyclers. The steppe silk is already being harvested, retted and woven. This is no synthetic fibre from the dark side looms. This is a natural fabric out here in this unnatural place. Aki brushes a little dust away. We will trade it and get what Greenbelt needs to stay stable, to feed its people. I am the administrator, but the workers are the owners here, and we will make a future for ourselves from our work. Aki shrugs. We control our path. What more could we want? Silence falls in the room. The idea of such a future so desirable that it is almost painful. An idea that haunts you. You can spend as much time here as you like. Aki breaks the silence, somehow aware of your thoughts. I find the noise soothes me. Thank you. Aki bows gently. She pauses. There's something you want to ask me. She smiles. I can see it right there on the tip of your tongue. Explain about Nemba. Aki listens carefully as you talk about the refugees in the Fast Spindle and the possibility of setting up a mutual relationship between them and Greenbelt. The Fast Spindle is a long way from here. She sighs. Come, find me in my unit later. We can discuss more then. You leave Aki in her dust house surrounded by the landscape of her homeworld, one of many creatures born on that parched moon that is in the process of transforming into something new. Alright, so what have we got? We got the 2 points, and not quite enough to upgrade another skill. We got new location as well. Aki's unit. So we're going to gift her the packed spores. Aki is working in her unit. Now the steppe silk is established and Greenbelt stable, it seems like the right time to bring her Nemba's spores. Aki looks at the crate of spores with a mix of curiosity and skepticism. The well-travelled crate does appear very rough at this point. Come in. The door of Aki's unit slides open and you see her perched at a terminal, her face pale in the blue light of the screen. You haven't seen her in this setting before. She seems paler, older when she isn't surrounded by the soft light of the biomes. Just one moment. Her eyes do not leave the screen and she leans in closer, squinting at some detail. You get the sense this is her least favourite part of her administrative position. She sighs and looks up. Done. Immediately her eyes are drawn to the crate you carry. What have you brought me? A gift. She raises her eyebrow. From who? Let me see. As she unlocks the worn catches on the crate, you explain about Nemba and his work to feed the refugees in the underhang. You aren't sure Aki is listening though. She seems too eager to see inside the crate. Aki manages to get the lid open and lifts a dented canister out of the inside. She turns it, peering through the small windows at the dusty-looking, translucent sheet curled inside. Spore prints! She looks at you. This is quite a gift. From this Nemba, you said. She carefully slots the canister away. We'll make good use of these. The tunnels under Greenbelt will make an excellent mushroom garden. She smiles to herself. I was lucky enough to be taught how to tend mushrooms by a true expert. Who was that? Someone from my journey here. A botanist on Erlin's Eye. She was very kind to us. I can't remember her name, but I know who she's talking about. There was an older lady in like the ecological part of the first game station. I can't remember her name. She was nice. She would have liked to meet you. I would like to meet Nemba. Perhaps we can find some commonality. She glances over her shoulder at her terminal. But I can't leave Greenbelt, not now. She looks at you sheepishly. I'm a little nervous to ask this of you, given your ferrying back and forth of messages and deliveries, but would you bring Nemba here so we can speak? Gladly. Aki smiles. I hope that would be the case. A shrill beep begins emanating from Aki's terminal. Ah, she smiles. The Weavers. I need to speak to them. You make your way out of the unit as Aki takes a deep breath and then accepts the incoming transmission. One more run from Greenbelt to the fast spindle and back again. At least you aren't carrying spores this time. Alright, let's go do that now. We're full on fuel, so that's not an issue. We're going to have to go around this radiation zone though, so Helion Gate. You're the first to notice them. Small, white, smooth shapes at the boundaries between hull plates, in the seams of panelling curling out from beneath vents. Oh dear, what's happening? Mushrooms dotted here and there all across the cargo bay. Mushrooms growing on your ship. This doesn't seem very hygienic. Bliss floats next to you, surveying the scattering of pale caps in the cargo bay. It's hard not to disagree, although you doubt spores and fungi can have a significant effect on your body. Not that you've risked it before. We should vent the cargo bay. Seraphine's voice crackles through the cargo bay's speakers. He's flying the ship, but you updated him on your new passengers. This is what comes from having spores in wonky crates sitting in your base cycle after cycle. Bliss shrugs. They don't seem to be hurting anyone. They float over to a cap and tear it off at the stem. We know from Nemba that these are edible, so... could we farm them? We could farm them. We're always short of supplies. Seraphine's voice buzzes through the speakers. But a few caps didn't make a meal. Bliss inspects the cap. I do like a good mushroom. They sniff it. Back on the Eye, they had these Matsutake that smelled amazing. You look over the cargo bay. It doesn't get used much. Most of your halls fit comfortably in 1/4. There's plenty of room to isolate a little growing area, maybe with some plastic sheets. Or you could just open the hatch and let the void of space sterilize the whole place for you as you fly. After all, if these things get into the air recyclers, you could have a serious problem on your hands. And who knows what they might do to the wiring. You doubt either decision will bother Nemba, at least. His spores are delivered, and you have a free hand to choose. Let's keep them. Let's keep them. Bliss holds the cap to their mouth and then thinks better of it. They squint at you. Are you sure? Yeah, let's keep them. We'll still need to figure out how to harvest and prepare them. Bliss slips the cap into a pocket. But I think it's a good call. You hope they're right. This rig is busy enough without adding extra ecosystems into the mix. As you leave the cargo bay, you suddenly realize you've taken on yet another project. That's becoming a habit. Interesting. I guess I will see what mechanic that kind of manifests as. Cargo bay. What we got here? Fungus farmer. It turns out that turning a cargo bay into a mushroom farm is more work than you thought. That's what's going to take a while. So we need to find caps. Part of the job of preparing the bay is finding all the stray caps that you don't want to take root and putting them out. Isolate bay. Putting up plastic sheeting to isolate a section of the bay for farming is a big job. It just takes focus and patience. Okay. Well, we're just here to refuel and move on, so let's put all our dice into these. It's going to take a couple of cycles at least to fill this clock. Wonder what happens on a negative. Energy loss. I'd take the risk of that. We can eat our supplies. There we go. So we're halfway through. Let's just have a meal before we leave. There we go. So we want to fill up on things. Oh, I forgot about that. I think in that case we just move on. I think 8 fuel should be enough to get to Fast Spindle. It is, so let's just go straight there. Okay, I've got more dice, but let's save those. Where's Nemba? He must be down here. Nemba congratulates you on arranging the meeting. Now you just need the fuel to get him to Greenbelt to meet Aki. Yeah. So fuel is at the trade hall, isn't it? Let's fill up. I'm going to use my dice. Let's keep going on this mushroom farm. I doubt with those rolls we'll finish it on this. I'm expecting some neutral and negative results. Yeah. Doesn't really matter. We don't even need to eat particularly, so why don't we, let's just get a number. Got our fuel. Get ready to leave. Oh, we've gone straight there. That's cool. Aki comes to meet Nemba at the entrance to Greenfields. You can tell she's in full administrator mode. Her bows are precise, her words carefully chosen, but her manner is not without its distinctive warmth. Nemba responds in kind, taking a diplomatic tone, but with a wry grin for her benefit. As Aki provides the tour, you watch them from one of the bridges, their conversation muffled by the greenery all around. They both look at home amongst the growing things, hands reaching out to touch stray leaves, faces dappled with sunlight. When Nemba returns afterwards, you aren't surprised to see him pleased. Plans are in motion, Sleeper. Nemba smiles for a moment and then catches himself. Optimistic plans. What did you negotiate? It is, I hope, a mutually useful agreement. She graciously offered us a regular supply of steppe silk cloth for clothing and construction of shelters in the bays of the Underhang. We're also going to see about settling people here in Greenbelt to work with the farmers. Nemba sighs. It is always a little strange to talk like this about the lives of people who have been exposed to so much suffering, but we do them no benefit to couch our words in platitudes. Nemba looks out at the Greenfields. Aki understands that. She is a refugee herself. She fled her moon many cycles ago. Nemba squints. We share that as well. You never said that I was a refugee? Nemba sighs. Would it have made you treat me differently? He sniffs. Sorry, I am being unfair. I just find there is an expectation that, if I am a refugee, I must be desperate. I must beg for aid, show my suffering. Nemba folds his arms. I prefer to make plain requests, or even better, strong demands. You think of the back and forth journeys made for both Aki and Nemba, and the aid that was asked of you. Would you have done the same if the requests hadn't been so strong, the demands so obvious? Speaking to Aki, I could see she has experienced the same treatment, though I think she is less hardened by it. We both have our own reasons to do what we do, for why we enjoy it in our own ways. We don't need to explain ourselves to others. Nemba looks over his glasses at you. I am glad you two have met her. Thank you for your part in it. Glad to help. What I like about you, Sleeper, is that I believe you when you say that. Nemba smiles wryly. I will stay a little longer. Aki has promised to send me back to the Fast Spindle with the first shipment of fabric. I will then gather those who wish to come here and send them back in the same freighter. He smiles warmly at the view of the Greenfields. The exchange begins. The work never ends. You say your goodbyes and leave Nemba on the bridge, enjoying the dappled light. After all the shuttling of spores across the belt, you finally have a clear view of Aki and Nemba, and their response to their own hardship. They are not saints acting from a position of purity, but pragmatists, with an intent to change those things that once marked them. The future they will build together is one you're eager to see. Great. Cool. Okay, so we have done a couple of things on our list, and as a result got some upgrade points. So, interface, endure, or intuit. I think I might do... I'm tempted to do intuit. I feel like you get a lot of intuit rolls. So I'm going to do that. Just something that gives us a bit more insight into stuff. I think that's good. So yeah, so let's go into I think we'll be able to finish our mushroom patch here. Done. Okay. There are no more mushrooms in the farm. You'll need to wait until some more grow. So it looks like we have 3 cycles, and then maybe we can pick some mushrooms? Maybe we'll be a little more self-sufficient now in terms of contracts. Like maybe we won't be quite so reliant on those 5 supplies, which should be good. We still can't go to Darkside. I think our move is to go down to Oliveira. Or maybe we'll go to the Hollow. Maybe now that I've got this mushroom thing up, maybe we should go and do the contract. I still can't work anywhere here, so it's a bit of a waste of dice, but there's nothing for me to use them on. So let's go to the Hollow, and from there we'll head out to the ship Eugene's looking for. I can't remember what they're calling it. The Aphelion Path or something? These are rubbish dice, so I'm not going to have a lot to do here. I guess we'll just fill up on fuel. Process scrap? Yeah, I did process this specifically to bring it here and get money for it, so let's do that. Do a shift with this. With this intuit, that's a 5, isn't it? So nice. Okay. So yeah, I think we go and do the Aphelion Beacon. So Eugene's coming. That's fine. I might tempted to take Junie because she's got the plus in the interface thing. Plus an intuit from near isn't as useful, I don't think. So I'm going to take Junie. I think the plus in 1 skill is better than sort of neutral in 2, particularly when I'm sort of already good at those. We're coming up to the beacon site now. Seraphin brings the ship into place. Signal's pretty weak though. He turns in his chair, which is what you get for chasing 10,000 cycle-odd leads that got a lot of people killed. Since you explained the situation to Seraphin, he hasn't gotten any more enthusiastic about the job, especially as it's a job that comes from Eugene. Seraphin shuts down the engine and turns to Eugene. Time for you to go have a time for you to go have a poke around in those rocks. He waves a hand at the scattering of asteroids. Enjoy! Eugene barely seems to notice the sarcasm. A kind of fixed determination has come over him since you left the Hollow. It's not something you've seen before.
Let's suit up and find the beacon.
He pats you on the shoulder.
Lewis said it's the first of a trail, so the faster we locate this one and get ourselves pointed to the next, the better. Enough messing around.
He kicks off and glides out of the cockpit, heading straight for the airlock. If it's a signal we're tracing, then we should think about trying to triangulate it. Junie stares out of the cockpit at the sparse grey rocks. No point just wandering around and finding whatever else the beacon plant are left for overly curious travellers. Nice to be on the trail of a piece of history, though. If the Aphelion Path was real, well... Junie smiles. It'd be quite a find. Junie turns and follows Eugene to the airlock. It's just you and Seraphin left in the cockpit. He taps at his console, ignoring you. You think this is a bad idea? Seraphin turns. Me? He mockingly puts a finger on his own chest.
Look.
He gets serious for a second.
People have been searching for this thing since the Solheim collapse. That's a lot of desire directed at one hidden drive. Objects like that tend to get people in trouble.
Seraphin sighs.
At least in my experience. So take it slow and keep your eyes on Eugene.
Seraphin turns back to the console, busying himself with diagnostics. You turn and leave the cockpit, your mind on the beacon and the trail that should, all being well, end at a ticket out of the entire system. Okay, low rolls from the guys and me. But let's see what we have here. We have Junie's triangulation, which probably seems like a good idea. I don't know about Eugen there on the danger roll, quite honestly. The beacon's location is masked by debris or radiation. You'll have to search it out to find the path ahead. So let's pop in Junie's 4. See what we get there. We've got our 4s as well, so there's no risk of a negative reaction on this, but a neutral reaction is going to lead to stress. Which isn't great. Isn't great. Positive though. That's good. I got stress. Bit unlucky to get 2 neutrals there, honestly. Risk of a breaking die. I don't see any reason to risk Eugen's 2s or my 1s. So I think we come away from there. We have take an opportunity to re-roll. Can't do this on a contract, can you? Yeah. Okay, it's in the cycle. Better. For me, anyway. Okay, well, these 2 are going to be 100% positive, so we'll do those. We'll risk Junie's 4 as well. If she gets a stress, it's not the end of the world. I'm going to put in Eugen's 3. Okay, so that's done. New location, Aphelion Beacon. Alright, so we've got an intuit thing here, so that's good for me, because I can bring that up to a 6. Onward Vector. This beacon contains the coordinates for the next beacon in the trail. You just need to extract them, so we can analyze sight, decrypt signal. These guys have got 1, so it seems like I'm not going to be using those. Let's input this. I'm going to push... because that 5 will recover that stress. Like so. But I don't see the need to put the 1s in, so we'll leave that for now. Oh, we got mushroom, so we can pick this, yeah? It's risky. I do have a +2 to it though, so that should be okay. Yeah, +2 energy, minus fruiting bodies. Did it? Did it give us a supply? I can't tell. I can't remember if we had 3 or 4 there. Oh well. Keep an eye on that for next time. Alright, well they've got a bit of higher die here, but unfortunately Eugen's is fairly useless because he can't do either of these. Let's put my 4s in here. Guaranteeing positive results.
We're in.
Eugen nods at the data port, deep inside the body of the beacon. He peers through his suit's faceplate at it. You have part of the plating removed, and you're pretty sure you have access to the coordinates you need. All that's left is to slot a drive.
I've got this.
Eugen takes out a thumbnail drive and slots it.
Easy as can be.
A smile flickers across his face. You peer into the beacon. It has been a delicate job getting the security access and the system knowledge to find the coordinates for the next step, but it all seems to have passed without incident.
Got it.
Eugen pulls the drive and thumps you on the shoulder.
Let's head to the next one.
Look alive down there. Seraphine's voice comes over the comms. We've got a ship on approach. We need to make ourselves scarce. You and Eugen exchange looks.
The singers.
You kick off and glide towards the ship, but Eugen goes in the other direction. You wonder what he's doing for a second, and then you see it. He arrives at the beacon and immediately begins laying into its metal shell. He pulls a tool from his suit's belt and caves in the beacon with an anger that chills you. When he's done, the beacon is just another chunk of debris in the shoals. He joins you in the cockpit. Seraphin gives you a look, but doesn't say a word. He just silently taps in the new coordinates. You look across at Yu Jin, his expression fixed and his eyes cold, and then Seraphin fires up the drive. We're moving to a new location, I guess? We've re-rolled our dice, which is not bad for us, actually. I mean, I think I may have wasted a 6 or 2, but that's a pretty good average. A shrill bleep wakes you from your stargazing. What was that? Seraphin looks around the cockpit as warning lights and sirens sound all over the ship. The terminal screens flicker, some of them not coming back on. You hear a groan from somewhere deep in the ship. Some kind of pulse, an energy weapon. Seraphin slaps the side of his flickering terminal until it stabilizes. On it, you see a red dot moving further away from the center of a circle. Our ship is accelerating away. Seraphin taps at his console, bringing up the transponder information. He turns to Yu Jin with a hard stare.
It's Vesna.
Yu Jin shakes his head.
Got it in one.
Seraphin grits his teeth. The lime hound, registered in the far spindle. He slams his fist on his keyboard. What does she do?
She knocked out her drive. Must have been waiting for us.
Seraphin sighs.
We'll need to get it activated as quickly as we can.
Yu Jin is up from his seat, peering out of the window with a large rock floating just outside.
The beacon has to be there. Vesna cracked it and waited for us to catch up. She was trying to dissuade us.
Aye, well, she's done a pretty good job. Seraphin scrolls through layers of drive diagnostics.
Give up now?
Yu Jin glances at you.
We're so close.
Yu Jin's right. Seraphin sniffs but says nothing.
The singers are out there too. If we're lucky, they'll cancel each other out.
Yu Jin goes to leave the cockpit.
We decrypt the beacon and fix the drive. No distractions.
Yu Jin kicks off and glides out of the cockpit towards the airlock. I knew this was going to get complicated, Junie sighs. But we have to keep the find at the end of this trail in mind. To let it fall into incurious hands? She shakes her head. We need to be the ones to claim it.
Look,
Seraphin turns in his seat.
We're in this now. No way to back, only forward. But the moment this goes south, and it will, I'll pull you out and we're leaving. Whether Yu Jin wants to back out or not.
Seraphin meets your eye, is serious. We won't leave Yu Jin.
What I'm saying, Sleeper, is you won't be given the choice.
Seraphin turns back to his console. This, as far as he is concerned, is your problem to fix. Yu Jin rolled high, that's good. Alright, well, let's look at what's required. The disabled drive. We need engineering or endure. So obviously good news for us and Yu Jin. Then on the asteroid, engineering and interface. So pretty good, to be fair. Alright, well, let's use Junie here, because that's a guaranteed success. This isn't guaranteed, but it's a 5, so pretty good. Yeah, good. They've lost stress as well. I didn't lose any stress, unfortunately. Alright, well, we're getting there. But we want to stay on top of this as well. So let's put in the endure here to fix the drive. He took a stress. It didn't say it there, I don't think, though. But he did take it. Okay, so I want to... One thing I do want to check is this mushroom thing. So I'm going to put in a 4. Guaranteed positive result here. We've got 3 supplies currently. Plus 1 supply. So we need a positive outcome. But as long as I put a 4 in there, that's gonna be the case. So that's good. That does push our supplies up. So we're almost self-sufficient now on contracts. That's very nice. I'm going to sort of split my time, I think. This is a bigger clock, though, so let's put my dice into this engineering thing here. Put my 4s in here. That's pretty good. We're almost there on that one. Maybe I should put into here as well. I'm going to put one into the decrypt. I don't think it matters. It's all paying into the same clock, but we should be decrypting it. Good. Okay. Well, that's all dice used, which is nice. We're almost there on both things. So let's send the cycle. I'm going to put another 4 in here. Get our supplies up again. Which is very nice. Eugene's a bit of a non-factor. Jeannie, though, could put her 4 into this decryption. That was a neutral. She didn't take damage for that. Let's do this first. Okay, so do anything? No. So we need to keep working on the drive as well, which we shall. If I put that into there. Yeah, I was going to say it's only one section to fill, but I think it makes sense. Just make sure of it. There we go. Seraphin punches the final set of coordinates into his console and runs a fresh set of diagnostics on the rig's drive. Everything comes up green. The atmosphere in the cockpit is tense. None of you know what you might be flying into. Eugene's jaw is set, his eyes on the stars and scattered rocks, his goal in reach. It's not a goal to be underestimated, a fraction drive, one that can take any ship out of the system and beyond, one that can forge a path through the surrogate systems few can take. Freedom, both from this system's politics and the structures of power that dominate the passage of people through colonized space. The problem with such a lofty ambition is that it is infectious, seductive. It is desirable enough to draw people out, to bring them to their absolute limit. You've seen that in Eugene. The singers, too, are shaped by that desire, and Vesna, the steely-eyed captain you don't seem to be able to shake. The question is, who will flinch first? Aphelion's End, the final resting place of the Aphelion path. Here you are, moored around a remote and airless rock, a scattering of debris concealing an object of great value, in a system spiraling into war. We're the last here. Seraphin shuts down the drive, but at least no one started shooting.
Vesna would only kill as a last resort.
Eugene looks out at the rock.
The singers, I'm less sure about.
Reassuring, Seraphin deadpans. So what now? We walk out there and start digging? What do you think, Eugene? You tend to face Eugene, but he's already gone. You get after him. Seraphin shakes his head. I'm gonna keep the rig warm. I get the feeling we're gonna be needing it. As you glide out of the cockpit, you hear the airlock cycling. Eugene is already out. You speed up, grabbing a suit and wrestling it on as you head for the airlock. The door hisses open to reveal a sparse landscape. The twisted parts of a facility or ship, corroded beyond recognition, jut up out of the dusty rock. Squinting into the faint and distant sun, you can make out 2 figures in suits, standing a fair distance apart in the middle of the loose circle of debris. You glide down towards them, specks of loose gravel and decaying metal bouncing off your suit as you do.
Now,
a voice crackles through your comms as you approach, broadcast over the open channel.
None of us want to die out here.
You see them now, the 2 figures. Vesna. Oh, okay, I thought it was Eugene. Scrub that voice then. Vesna and the leader of the singers, Petter, facing each other across the dusty plain. Vesna's arm jutting out from her body, a hand resting on an object at her hip. A weapon. Keep your distance, sleeper. Her eyes flick over to you as you approach. This god's-forsaken rock is crowded enough as it is.
We set foot here first. The claim is ours by anyone's judgment.
Petter speaks calmly and slowly, his arms at his hips and his palms upturned.
And I suspect we are also the best equipped to find the fraction drive and put it into use.
Anyone's judgment? Vesna scoffs. Who do you see out here to validate your claim, She gestures at the rock-strewn void with one hand, her other firmly on the grip of her handgun.
The sleeper is our witness here.
Petter turns slowly to you.
I'm sure they'll verify our claim.
I didn't see who was first. Vesna laughs. Well, at least someone here still has integrity. You look between the 2 of them, searching their faces for an intent, an opening, anything. Vesna's ocular implants give nothing away, but the visible tension in her gun arm suggests failing patience. Petter, meanwhile, projects an atmosphere of considered calm, but there is violence behind that benign smile and a crew of singers somewhere out there in the dark. Ooh. The drive is mine. Back off. Vesna raises a single eyebrow above her metal eyes. Then you'll have to come and take it. Her arm tenses. The shot is silent, its direction unclear, but its effect is immediate. The side of Vesna's suit explodes in a geyser of escaping oxygen. She spins, clutching at the wound to clamp it closed. As she does, you see the shot grazed her, splitting the suit but leaving her body beneath intact.
Might want to run and get that fixed, Vesna.
Yujin slips out from the shadow of a piece of debris at the edge of the circle. He holds a long gun at his hip. What took you so long? Yujin's eyes are fixed on Peta.
Let's all stay calm.
He moves slowly closer. You son of a bitch! Vesna is doubled over, unable to take her hands away from the hole in her suit without risking immediate depressurization. Yujin draws alongside you, his eyes still on Peta.
Time to turn yourself around, get in that ship of yours and go back to wherever the hell you crawled out from.
You glance at Vesna. There is a spout of oxygen spewing out from her suit, leaking between her fingers. She doesn't have long.
We can't abandon this climb.
Peta shows his open palms.
For the Singers to survive, we must leave the system behind. There is no way for us to support ourselves here. Our moon is gone, eaten up by the war. Belt will be next. You may as well shoot me here if you're not going to let me take the drive. This is my people's future.
Well, Yujin shifts his shoulders.
If you insist. Sleeper, we have incoming. A lot of incoming.
You glance at Yujin. He is hearing the message too.
A whole load of Conway ships are approaching the station.
Conway? What are they doing here?
I'm not about to radio and ask them.
Seraphine's voice distorts.
But it's hard not to imagine that news of this fraction drive has reached further than anyone wanted.
You look across at Peta and see his lips moving, but hear nothing. He is talking to his crew. A moment later you hear a click as he switches back to the open channel.
Have you heard what I just heard? Then you know we're out of time.
Peta looks deadly serious now, his face of diplomatic calm having fallen away.
We Singers are the only crew who can pull a fraction drive out before Conway arrives. There are more of us and we have the experience. Let us take it. Don't let it fall into the hands of this system's biggest enemy.
Sleeper, Seraphine hisses over the comms.
Get back to the rig.
No. Yujin cuts in. You're unsure if he's responding to Seraphine, Peta, or both.
The drive is ours. I've worked too hard and come too far to let it go now.
He raises the long gun to his shoulder.
You're all insane!
Vesna spits out the words, her voice strained and hoarse. Horse? Horse. I'll leave you to your graves. She kicks off from the rock, arcing towards the crimson shape of the limehound. Yujin doesn't even watch her go. You see something flaring in his eyes, a dark drive with no other resolution. Engage is pointless. It's not pointless, but it's a coin flip. I think we'll tell Peta to back down. Back down, Peta.
Idiots.
Peta sighs and clicks out of the open channel. The shot hits Yujin in the shoulder, spinning him back across the circle of scrap. You feel the spatter of debris as another shot zips past you silently, only an inch or two wide. As you turn away from Peta, you see the glints of light on otherwise dark shapes near the horizon, the matte black suits of armed Singers, hiding in plain sight against the darkness of space. They're everywhere. Okay, we have an endure check that we should get a good result from. You glide away from the incoming fire, Yujin spinning ahead of you, the gush of oxygen from his split suit sending him on a wild and dangerous arc. Grab him. Positive. You grab desperately, hooking your hand around his flailing arm. The suit's outgassing spins the both of you now, but you manage to reel him in and clamp your hands over the hole. You aim the both of you towards the airlock as another volley of shots spatters you with chunks of rock and metal. You are exposed, crossing the empty space between rock and ship, but you're far from the Singers now, and no more shots arrive. Both you and Yujin glide through the open airlock, slamming hard into the interior door. In moments it's cycled, and you pull off your suits to check for wounds. A few orbs of blood break gently on the ship's interior walls, but Yujin pushes you away as you try to tend to the gash on his shoulder. His face is fixed in a grimace of pain and frustration. You both glide up to the cockpit to find Seraphine rapidly starting the drive. His console screen is filled with red pulses, the signatures of Conway drone ships bearing down on this lonely rock. He glances up as you enter the cockpit but says nothing. You're thankful for that at least. This is no time for glib remarks. You take one last look at the Aphelion Path's final resting place, now cloaked in clouds of fresh dust. You think of the Singers down there, no doubt already wrenching the fraction drive from its hiding place and onto their ship. Conway is their problem now. And then the drive kicks in and you leave the Singers to their fate. Wow, okay. Back in the Hollow. The ship is quiet as you dock with the Hollow. No one eager to speak about what happened out there in the shoals. Look how well we rolled. I hope there's something to do with it here. Even Seraphim is silent, tapping away at the engine shutdown with comfortingly routine motions. Eugene has bandaged his shoulder now, a sleeve compressing the wound beneath his clothes. He looks drained and pale, but otherwise you wouldn't be able to tell he'd been hurt at all. You know it will take him some time to come back from this, to extract himself from the hold that fraction drive, that dream held over him. You wonder if he ever will, or if the freedom that object represented to him will haunt him for the remains of his life. You know at least that now is not the time to try to discuss it, to lay out exactly what happened out there. Eugene will retreat, of course, hiding beneath the glib personality you've come to recognize as his shield, but perhaps, as the cycles pass, he will find himself changed. Perhaps not. Either way, there is much to be done, and this thankless adventure has derailed you enough. Time to get back to work. There we go. I got an achievement. Find the fraction drive without losing Eugene. So it's definitely a possibility to lose Eugene there. I think if we hadn't grabbed him, luckily we had a pretty good skill check modifier thing to use there. But let's so what we're going to do now? The fraction ship thing. Let the dust settle. It says. So it's Oliveira is our next thing. And can I go there direct from here? I actually can. Okay, so I think let us work. Let's work for the money. I'm gonna do this to fill up our supplies though, which is rather nice. In fact, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna feed the kitty cat. Oh, that's not what you do. And I can even, no, I can't get more mushrooms yet, but that's fine. So I've got loads of cryo. Why don't we scavenge fuel when we rest? But for now, let me do a bit of work. I mean, either one is going to give us positive results. I don't think there's a difference in terms of the payment. We could check that. Yeah, it's the same. We're doing pretty well for the old money. Let's rest. We're nearly filled up on fuel. Not going to cost us very much to do that. In fact, I'm going to... let's farm some more mushrooms. Get our supplies maxed out. I'm going to buy some fuel. Nice and cheap. And I might as well use the other dice as we're going to be moving on now. We'll just use this to make even more money. I mean, we're pretty good on the cash right now, to be fair. But we might as well use the dice. Use them or lose them, you know. There we go. So yeah, let's head out to Oliveira. Concealed colony. Let's do it. You find Oliveira exactly where Ankita said it would be. A ragged colony nestled in a crater on one of the biggest rocks of the shoals. Seraphim gets no response to his initial broadcasts, and so you find yourself in a docking tunnel, the rig at one end, the colony at the other, with no idea what awaits you. Who is this? I don't know, maybe someone we don't know yet. I need you to get back on that ship and keep flying. You freeze in the dark tunnel, a figure in front of you holding a long gun at their hip. I'm serious. This is Xander. Okay. Your eyes adjust to the dark, and as they do, you see a man, no, a boy, carrying a long dark shape in his hands. I don't know how you found us, but you need to leave right now and forget this place. You glance over your shoulder and see Seraphim, his hands raised in front of him in a gesture of calm. Look, kid, we mean no harm. How about you go and run and get someone? I am someone. I'm Xander. He sticks out his jaw. It's you. If it's you, I don't know, and I'll decide who's going to do some harm here. He reaches across his chest and thumbs on a lamp he's lashed there. You blink in the glare of the bright light, shielding your eyes, and as you do, you see a flicker of confusion crossing Xander's face. He meets your eye with a look of shock and opens his mouth as if to speak, though no words emerge. We have something for Carmen. You notice the familiar name registered with Xander, adding to whatever confusion or question your appearance has provoked. You see his eyes taking in your sleeper body, his gun dropping a little as he takes his attention off it. Is this... He looks between you and Seraphine. Are you here for Flint? He pulls the gun closer to himself.
I'll be honest, kid, we've no idea who you're talking about.
Seraphine allows himself to drift a little forward.
So, how about you drop the gun and we can talk like adults?
Seraphine flows past you, gives you a look that makes you nervous. We're just here to deliver something. Cadence, a young Oliveira colonist. Xander! The voice echoes along the docking bridge. Xander, what are you doing? A figure appears at the end of the bridge behind Xander. A young woman, clearly older than the boy in front of you. Are these two trying to sneak in, Cadence? Xander keeps his eyes on you and Seraphine as he speaks. Saboteurs, maybe? I was about to send them on their way. Xander grins.
I assure you we are not saboteurs, miss.
Seraphine smiles at Cadence. She sighs and glides towards Xander. Stop messing around with that welder! She snatches the gun out of Xander's hands, and as she does, both you and Seraphine reflexively flinch. Cadence looks at the two of you with a raised eyebrow and turns the gun so you can see it better. You notice the fuel tank and welding muzzle. It probably has an effective range of less than half a foot. Seraphine looks at Xander and rolls his eyes.
Seriously?
Cadence lowers the welder to a side and turns to Xander. Now's not the time. We just got an emergency broadcast from Carmen and Flint. Something's happened. Xander's attitude changes immediately. He turns to face Cadence, putting his back to you, as if you just disappeared completely. What do you mean something's happened? I don't know. They went quiet in the shoals. All we got was a distress signal. Cadence raises her hands reassuringly. Don't get excited. They probably just had a technical fault on the ship, but we should check in anyway. We have to get them. Xander grabs the welder back and slings it over his shoulder. In what, Xander? They took our only functioning ship. The tender tide's still in pieces in the hangar. Seraphine gives you a nudge and nods towards Cadence and Xander. This is your chance. We have a ship. Xander wheels around in the tunnel, squinting at you in thought. Seraphine moves past you, approaching them.
We need to see Carmen, and it seems like Carmen needs our help.
He looks between the two of you.
So, how about we stop messing around in this dingy tunnel and go get your friend?
Xander turns back to Cadence. Them? Really? He rolls his eyes. We're not the only people in Oliveira. There must be other ships. You want to go looking? They're here now. Cadence looks at Seraphine, and they're generously offering to help. She smiles sheepishly. Fine. Xander folds his arms. But I'm coming with you.
Fine by us.
Seraphine shakes his head and looks at you.
Come on, then.
You both turn and head back into the ship, Seraphine whispering as you do.
What kind of backwater has Ankita sent us to?
He sighs.
That kid thinks he's some kind of sheriff.
He's just a kid.
Yeah, a kid with heavy industrial equipment.
What are you talking about? Xander catches up with you and Seraphine. His mood seems buoyed by the prospect of boarding a ship. You wonder how often he gets to leave Oliveira. Nothing? Xander shrugs. Sounds boring. Wait up. You turn to see Cadence gliding up the tunnel. I changed my mind. I'm coming too. Cadence, come on. Xander rolls his eyes. Carmen and Flint need techs, not a chef. What are you going to do out there? Seraphine cuts in.
He always is rude to you.
He gives Xander a look, shaking his head.
She wants to come, she can come, right?
He looks at you. You pause, but Seraphine doesn't seem to be waiting for confirmation. You're slightly thrown off by his eagerness to be helpful. This is the first time you've actually seen him be welcoming to anyone coming on board the rig. Xander puffs out his cheeks sulkily as Cadence smiles and glides into the ship quietly behind you all. When you get to the cockpit, you notice Xander looking wide-eyed at the consoles and switches. Seraphine pats him on the shoulder.
Might want to strap in there, kid.
Xander and Cadence find a place to settle as Seraphine buckles himself into the flight seat.
All right.
He turns to Xander.
Show us where to go.
And we're off. Cool. Well, I think that's probably a good place to leave it for now, as we're sort of heading into a story contract of indeterminate length. But hopefully you've enjoyed this episode. It was good to finally get Yu Jin's personal quest out of the way. I guess we still have to find out the sort of aftermath of that in terms of him and where his head's at. But, you know, if you did enjoy it, as I hope you did, if you could hit that like button, that'd be amazing. Be sure to leave me a comment as well and let me know what you thought about this episode. And if you're watching this and not yet subscribed to the channel, if you could do that, that'd be amazing. So when we come back next time, we're going to look for... what's his name? I want to call him Karnak. Carmen, and whoever the other one is that they asked for. But anyway, Flint, I think. Flint and Carmen. Yeah, we'll look for them next time. And I hope to see you there. Bye for now.